Since the end of the transition period, relationship between the EU and the UK have profoundly changed, and the consequences of Brexit are becoming visible. The trade and cooperation agreement negotiated between the parties in 2020 has prevented the introduction of tariffs, but it has not prevented the return of custom declaration. Moreover, the new trade relations does not cover services, it does not allow for free movement of persons, and it's very minimal in many respects. That has already led to an unprecedented drop in UK export to the EU, as well as UK import from the European Union, as certified by the UK Office of National Statistics. And at the same time, the new relationship is also based on the protocol in Northern Ireland, which, as we know and as we've seen in the last few days, has created political controversies. So it is a delicate situation, and the status quo is highly unstable.
So, unstable status quo. There's still teething troubles. It's still very early on. But the impact of Brexit has rather been overshadowed by the pandemic. I mean, how much do you think that the EU-UK relationship could potentially change and adapt in coming years?
The prospect of continuing negotiations between the parties remains strong. The trade and cooperation agreement is a thin deal. As I said previously, it covers only free movement of goods, but it doesn't cover services and other areas. The agreement has a number of transitional periods that apply in specific policy areas, from data protection to fisheries. And indeed, the treaty also has a so-called rendezvous clause, which commits the parties to meet in 5 years' time to renegotiate the terms of the agreement. If you look at the governance structure of the Trade and Cooperation Agreement, it creates a system whereby the parties are effectively expected to continue negotiate at technical level in multiple issues. And if you consider what is not covered by the Trade and Cooperation Agreement, I think there will be a pressure for the parties to continue engagement in other frameworks, in other fora moving ahead. So indeed, Brexit hasn't happened yet. The process is still ongoing.
It is an ongoing process, and you mentioned talks continuing, certainly on things like financial services, which, as you mentioned, are not part of the trade agreement we've got so far. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. But I want to talk to you about the future of the bloc and what it really means. I mean, the reality of the UK breaking away, does that make it more or less likely, do you think, that other countries will follow UK's lead?
Brexit has stopped calls by anti-European parties in other member states to quit the European Union. The difficulty faced by the UK in leaving the EU have, I think, decreased the interest by other countries in following that path. In fact, last summer, the European Union made a major leap forward in integration by reaching a deal on Next Generation EU, the Recovery Fund, which, according to many, was also a dividend of Brexit, because with the UK in, perhaps reaching an agreement on that would have been harder. Nevertheless, there are, of course, important challenges for the European Union at 27 moving ahead, from the rollout of vaccine to the rule of law crisis. The EU still has to tackle a number of structural problems within its governance system. And of course, the initiative to launch a conference on the future of Europe, which will kickstart next month, will be an important opportunity in that respect.